Coming up, we're going to talk about the House Speaker elections, the Andrew Tate scandal, and CES. The 299 News starts now. Welcome to the 299 News for Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. I'm Aiden.
I'm Matt.
I'm Cole. Boys, I have breaking news. It is the season premiere of the 299, but more importantly, after 6 go-rounds in the House, the representatives still haven't chosen who the Speaker of House is going to be. After 6 votes, and on the day of recording this, the House has been adjourned until later today, with no Speaker right now. Aiden, do you have a little bit more that you can share about this situation?
Hey Matt, you got more info on the House Speaker election?
Yeah.
I'm doing it Cole style, pass it on to someone else.
Yeah.
Hey, hot potato, if you don't know what you're talking about, pass it over to somebody else. Or if you don't feel like it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's what I do.
Yeah. For the past. Oh god. So I read a news report that talked about Kevin McCarthy and his relationship or how his history with being a representative, and it was released Sunday, so it was from the past. It was pretty predictable that he wouldn't win because he's liked by other Republican representatives, but he's not beloved, so he isn't really a candidate that many people would first consider.
Wasn't Jim Jordan also running? Was that his name?
Yeah, Jim Jordan.
He was the other Republican who was advocating for McCarthy, telling them to vote for him. Yeah. Yet he still gets a lot of votes, Jim Jordan.
I know,
it's really ironic.
It is.
because he's on the far right. He's a more further right Kevin McCarthy. It's him, Hakeem, Jeffrey, Kevin McCarthy, if I remember correctly. Those are the 3 I know. 3 major ones. Jeffrey is the Democrat from New York. And then McCarthy and Jordan. And neither one of the 3 have received majority, which is why it's now gone through at least 6 rounds. How about we say at least 6? And it's even caused the meeting to be adjourned. And in the past 100 years, it hadn't even made it past 3 rounds, much less 4, 5, or 6. So it's very interesting, especially because I know Trump has been advocating for Kevin McCarthy. Biden made a statement this morning saying it's embarrassing in the House. So, yeah. Not that it's interesting to hear him use that word, embarrassing. All right. Aiden, what else do you have to add off of what I said?
I'd say to hell with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Moving on. But all right, Matt, any either one of you want any last comments?
I feel like
questions that one of us can answer.
Do you know how many votes was it? Wait, I'm looking at. Can you tell me how many votes Hakeem got?
I heard 212, but
this. Well, actually, I'm looking at this one. It was released today at 2:04 p.m. and it says 212. That's probably the 212. So, yeah. I think Hakeem beat during this Hakeem Jeffries beat McCarthy by 11 votes. So everyone else is Donald's is way below. So he'll probably get probably win Speaker of the House. Probably get the position. But yeah, that's all I have to say. That is very interesting.
So I do have a side story. I I usually don't watch C-SPAN because I try not to get too involved in politics, but I was kind of watching because the House Speaker election had gone through 3 votes. And I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. And they were doing the phone calls. You could call in to C-SPAN. And this one guy, he's from Minnesota, I think. The host was asking him...
All right, so Brett, who do you think should be speaker?
Well, you know what we could do, Greta? How about me? We'll start, if you got a Twitter account, we'll start Brad Olson for Speaker of the House. Me. Because I think I could do just as good a job as any of them.
Okay.
You know, so...
Well, who do you think could get 218 votes?
Well, with your help? Are you kidding me?
Okay.
That's a good answer.
Who said that
answer?
Yeah, and some caller on C-SPAN.
Who said me?
No, nobody thinks she should be speaker.
I have news saying that Kevin McCarthy just walked into a closed-door meeting. That the meeting is adjourned with his detractors. So.
Wait a minute. Explain that. See that again? What did he do?
So he went to a meeting with his detractors. Do you know what a detractor is?
I haven't heard of that before.
It's somebody who attacks another candidate. So it's basically somebody who's going to deprecate another candidate for him.
Oh.
They're going to say like, oh, but this candidate does this, this, and this, which is why you should go for Kevin instead of him.
That's awesome.
So it's in a closed door though, so nobody is allowed in. Door cannot be opened. Door stays shut permanently. Do any of you have any final thoughts on the House, the Speaker of the House, before we move on?
No.
Nope.
All right. Let's talk about the Andrew Tate scandal. If you have been on Twitter the last week, you've heard of this. So, if you guys want me to explain the story real quick, you guys think that would be beneficial?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So Andrew Tate. So do you guys know who Greta Thunberg is?
Yes.
If I say that name, do you know who it is? Okay. So I'm not going to explain who she is then. So Andrew Tate made a post saying, "This is my Bugatti. It does this, 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 and this, and produces this much carbon. Give me your email so I can email you about my 33 other cars." Let's just say she left him a nice insult in that in the email address, saying that she'd love to hear more, but came up with a fake email. And I'm sure he's gonna put it on screen or something, maybe. I don't know. And Andrew posted a video on Twitter of a response, saying something about her, making fun of her, saying that she's disrespectful and that he doesn't care. And his brother brought somebody handed him a pizza that was in there, the box, and it had a brand and obviously everything. He just set it on his table. But the funny part is the next day he was arrested. The Romanian government was able to use the pizza box he found in that video to find out he was in Romania, where he's wanted, or where he was arrested for charges of human trafficking, sexual assault, and many other charges. And he and his brother were arrested the next day.
And Greta
Thunberg put a tweet out saying this is why you should recycle your pizza boxes.
I mean, she's not wrong.
And today, on this day of recording, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate both had 11 of their cars taken away. Bugattis that I'm sure they have so many more of. But I'm sure they're crying. Andrew Tate still has been posting on Twitter. He's been posting how the Matrix has been lying to us and not to believe it. So quite an interesting figure. I'm not going to ask for your guys' opinion on Andrew Tate, obviously, because that's going to go down a whole rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. But people who hate him, I don't know where I'm going with this.
I think we should leave it at that.
Leave it at that?
Yeah.
All right. On Monday night, the Bills and Bengals tried to play their football game of the year, which would have had strong implications on playoff position in the NFL. only 2 games left for the majority of teams, and only 1 left now. But very early, within the first 10 minutes of the game, defensive back Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills suffered a cardiac arrest after what seemed like a routine play for the Bills, where CPR has been performed on him multiple times, and he ended up having to be taken to a hospital in Cincinnati, where he's in not the best condition, but he's still alive, and doctors and friends have said he's made strong improvements and strong progression over the last 2 days, 3 days now since then. Many football players have complaints, though, about the fact that the NFL told the Bills and Bengals they should they should go back to playing as soon as the ambulance left. The NFL said that they had 5 minutes to warm up, and then they wanted them to play again. The players and coaches all said that they were not going to play, and the game has been suspended, and it still has not occurred.
When did this happen? Do you know? When?
I believe it happened. I want to say it happened Monday night on January 2nd.
Monday.
Oh,
Monday,
okay.
January 2nd.
Yep.
And I should add, some doctors have said that it was blunt force trauma to the chest. So.
Oh.
Every NFL team has changed their profile picture to pray for Damar, and with his jersey number and his Bills colors. His GoFundMe, which is a toy drive for kids. The original goal of the GoFundMe was to make $2,000 for kids, which started earlier this year, or last year now. It's now made over $5 million since his injury occurred on Monday, with notable people like Tom Brady and many journalists making large donations to GoFundMe. So. Our thoughts are with Hamlin and his family and friends. So, but I wanted to bring up to you guys that we've now had multiple of these incidents occur in the NFL this year, especially with Tua, which we talked about on one of the early podcasts, where he got a concussion and then continued to play the game, where he suffered a second concussion in the same game. And now this. We've also had Mike White. I don't know. We never talked about that one. And a lot of strong. There's been a lot of changes, but I don't know. Yeah, we don't normally have these many injuries and these serious injuries, and nobody expects them to happen. But I'm not sure. You guys think the NFL needs to change anything?
Yeah.
What do you think they should? No. What do you think the best way to change would be?
I'm not sure, but probably safety procedures and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe better gear to prevent these things from happening on the field.
Well, here, let me share my idea now. Let me see how you guys think. So right now the NFL season is 17 games, not including the playoffs. Many people have suggested that you lower the number of games in the season to lessen the chance of injuries. Because the NFL now, for a bunch of years, has kept increasing the amount of games per week, games in a year. This is now the second or third year of there being a 17th game when it's normally 16. So, many are suggesting that we lower the number of games in the season. Or not we, but the NFL. Lowers the number of games in the season.
I feel like I think like Aiden said, putting more safety precautions in the sport, because football is dangerous on its own, like, and so just maybe like just adding safety practices, so something like that doesn't happen, because I feel like even if reducing the amount of games, the chance of injury is still prevalent.
But the chance of that type of injury is never going to be zero. So.
Yeah, but at least it's a very low chance where it's like almost impossible to happen.
Tech news.
Okay, well, Cole's obviously in the CES spirit. I want to ask you guys something real quick. I think I know what the answer is going to be. Do you guys know about HTC?
Heard of it.
Heard of it?
Heard of it.
What did they do?
They?
Yeah.
Is a person?
No, a company.
Nope. And my answer is no. I thought it was a drug.
Anyway.
I feel like that should go in the final cut.
Okay. So HTC, about 10 years ago or so, they used to make phones. So, but I guess their phone business fell apart late in the 2010s. Here we are in the early 2020s. They're big into virtual reality, and I guess apparently they're releasing a new headset. It will be called the Vive XR Elite, and it will cost only $1,400. Now,
man, that's like pocket change. I mean, like, come on. If they want to make a profit, they gotta raise the price.
well, wait to hear about the MetaQuest 2. It costs $399. Then again,
come on.
the metaverse sucks. It's going to be unveiled tomorrow at CES, which is happening in Las Vegas. Another thing going on right now at CES, I guess Roku is making their own smart TVs. I think
Really?
Yeah. Now, they've done smart TVs before, but they were through other brands, like, trying to think, like TCL or Insignia. But now it's going to be their own TVs. They're selling a 24-inch version for $119, and they're going all the way up to a 75-inch version, which I think is about $1,000. So, and then Samsung announced the Galaxy A14, which is their new $200 phone that they're selling. Pretty cool, I guess, because it's $50 cheaper than the A13, and really the only major upgrades about it is that it's going to have a 1080p display, not a 720p display, and also they're promising 4 years of major software updates, something that most other $200 phones don't have. So, pretty cool. And then the S23 series from Samsung is due out next month. They're going to be doubling the internal storage that comes with those phones. And rumor has it that the S23 Ultra will be getting a flat display, unlike the curved display that last year's S22 Ultra had. Another thing I wanted to bring up, and I want to get you guys' reaction on this. Did you hear about Louisiana? What they're doing? Cole's gonna love this headline. So Louisiana is enforcing a new state law this year. So if you're accessing any websites where a third of its content is pornographic, you'll have to show some government-issued identification to verify your age. They're doing this to make sure children don't get access to it, even though there may be some children out there that are tech-savvy enough to use a VPN. And with that, we turn to today's history topic.
That was tech news.
And I actually have one thing I'd like to bring up before we get into the history. In our last video, we received a comment talking about how we have different. Each of us has a different, like, figurine or some type of character that's in the background. Cole has Kermit. Aiden, they said you had a cat?
My cat doesn't go meow. It goes meow.
No.
Wow.
Communist cats too.
So, and they also talked about this, like, I don't know what they called it, this little dude I have right on my desk. This is so if you're interested, this is a bobblehead. It is a if you've seen The Walking Dead, you get this. You get the reference. You get this. Have you seen The Walking Dead? Well, you know what? You don't get it then. Watch the show and you would.
No.
It's an RV. It's the RV walker. RV walkers. There you go. That's what it is. Okay. Okay.
Cole.
You're done. It's
History.
good.
History. Come on, hurry up. I got stuff to do.
Same.
All right. So, as the season finale in our season finale last week, I made the breaking news announcement. We are doing a different time period now. We're starting from a new spot, completely, and we're not gonna finish the Cold War. We'll come back to that and later. What we're gonna talk about today, and Matt's gonna lead the discussion on the American Revolution.
Can you initiate? No, Cole, can you go?
I'll initiate. So we're gonna talk about the American Revolution and how America became its own country. So,
Or did it?
or did it?
Secretly, we're
Alright. Secretly, we're all part of the Illuminati.
No, we're part of Canada.
The Matrix.
I was told we were part of Puerto Rico. American Revolution. So, in this late 1700s, America and Britain, they weren't really cool with one another. They were kind of not best buddies, because America was all like, we want to be represented and we don't want to get taxed the way that we are, because you're not letting us be represented in your House of Commerce. Which, I mean, is true. Also, it's kind of funny, because if you look back, the people in the Canadian territories were getting taxed a lot more than the people in the 13 colonies, but we won't talk about that. America was all like, hey, this isn't cool, bro. So they were all like, you know what? If they're gonna put taxes on imports and exports, we're just gonna take their imports and dump them in the ocean, which is what they did at the Boston Tea Party, because they just weren't really fond of the British guys anymore. What they would do is they would take some of their soldiers, they would strip them naked, put some tar and then some chicken feathers on them.
The best way to say F you.
And in 1776, America declared its independence from Britain, claiming, and the Declaration of Independence. Have any of you read it?
Not read. No, I'm not.
No. Yeah, Aiden, have you read it?
No.
Okay. Well, it's basically America claims that the king, King George, right? George. Right?
Yes, King George. Yeah.
King George. It's them explaining every way that makes King George a tyrant and what makes him a dictator.
No, sorry. Yes, I have seen, like, in my history class, we have read little snippets of the doctrine and kind of like how it what was the word? Demonizes the king, and how how he's kind of made life worse for the colonies.
Yeah, how he's not a cool guy.
He's not a cool guy.
He's just not a cool guy. So that's so it's the entire way of them saying, hey, this King George guy that's ruling us, he's not really cool. We want to be our own nation. I could go through all the advanced government topics behind it, but I don't know if our viewers want us to go that far into it. So
I talk like little bits of it. I'm pretty sure that'll be interesting.
okay, here we go. All right, got it. So the Declaration and the formation of the U.S. government was based around 4 key concepts. It was based on social contracts theory, which is the theory that the government exists based on the consent of those who are being governed by the government. That the people have to give them the consent to govern them. Republicanism, which is representation of every individuals in the House and making decisions, and that every individual has some form of representation. Popular sovereignty, which is where if the people don't like what the government is doing, they have the ability to get rid of it. The people are the strongest form of voice in the government, not the representatives. And natural rights, which is that the government is going to protect their property, which is their housing, their pursuit of happiness, social thing. Social. Let me see. What is the? I'll pull up. What's the definition of property in this context? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Is that the government must protect these rights, which is what their job is. So whether that's through military or other ways,
they're failing in one of those areas right now. They're failing in one of those areas right now.
Shush. Shush, shush, shush.
Not wrong.
So all 4 of those are interconnected in some way, such as is that popular sovereignty is connected to natural rights. Because if the government isn't protecting natural rights, the popular sovereignty is going to say that they don't like the government. Because what comes with popular sovereignty is the right to overthrow the government too. So if the people as a collective do not like the government, they will get rid of it and they will restart from scratch. But I mean, I don't know how. I've never really had any issues with that.
Not yet.
We never really removed an entire system of government. Sorry.
The South tried to in the Civil War.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Which we'll get to soon. But this was all written about in the first formation of government in the Articles of Confederation, after America had won the Revolutionary War and a little bit before then and during it. They followed this Article of Confederations, which was not at all anywhere near what our Constitution is like today. Declaration was a loose tying between the 13 states, or well, not at this point 13 colonies. They weren't united. The colonies can make laws on their own. They could choose and they could trade with one another. It was almost like they were 13 different countries almost, where they would each have their own system. But they were all tied together politically. The problem with the Articles of Confederation was that it made it really hard to assemble a military. So I don't. That's going beyond the Revolutionary War, so I'm gonna save that. But I'm gonna push it over to Matthew.
Okay. I think what's important to talk about is the background to what led up to the Revolutionary War. So, during I can't remember exactly, but in the 1750s, the American colonies got into a war with Native Americans in the West. That started because settlers, Americans, or not Americans, they weren't Americans yet. Colonists were encroaching on Native territory, and that made them upset. So they declared war, called on the French for support, and the colonies did the same. They called for the British for their support. And over time, I can't remember how long that lasts. Like, it was like I think like 9 years. I think it was 9 years. It's a long war.
Was it a part of the 7 Years' War?
Yeah. No. Yes, it was. It was part of the 7 Years' War.
French. Yeah, the French-Indian War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the French. Yeah, that was the French. Sorry, that was the French and Indian War. That ended later. I can't remember the exact date, but it was it Treaty of Paris? No, it wasn't the Treaty of Paris.
No, it's not the Treaty of Paris.
No,
the Treaty of Paris is World War II.
Was the Treaty of Ghent? I think it was the Treaty of Ghent that ended the war. Probably, maybe.
I'll look.
Yeah,
Look it up for the 7 Years' War ended in 1763.
And one of the agreements was.
Tip my hat to you. It was the Treaty of Paris.
Was a treaty? Thank you. All right, awesome.
I apologize for doubting.
Wait, it was a Treaty of Paris? Oh, well.
Yes, it is the Treaty of Paris that ended the 7 Years' War. Don't believe me?
And then the Treaty of Ghent would have had to been the one that ended the Revolutionary War.
Oh,
because I think.
Oh, the Revolutionary War. No, the Treaty of Paris has ended the 7 Years' War.
Okay. Nice. So at the end, after the war, King George declared a proclamation where no settlers could move beyond the Appalachian Mountains, and that was another factor that kind of led to the revolution because it restricted the American freedom and independence. It was
one of the problems was that their population was growing so much and they were running out of room for people.
Exactly.
So they weren't able to expand westward in order to give those people. So it was almost like they were moving in the direction of attrition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Which is a term I've only heard used whenever it comes to video games. I've never heard it in an actual historical sense.
And one of the reasons is that the idea of the New World was new opportunity, and King George proclaiming that no settlers can move beyond the Appalachian Mountains kind of diminished that dream for opportunity and success and to make money. So that ticked off a lot of colonists, and plus the what was that? I got my binder.
Cheating.
No, I'm not cheating. I'm using my notes here. What was it? Oh, where's my notes? Oh, I don't. It's in my. Wait, I'll be right back.
Well, while Matthew's gone, I'm going to explain.
No, I'm still here. I can hear you.
All right, so I'm going to explain everything while Matthew's gone, so that he has nothing to explain.
No. What is it? Wait. Where is that? I have it. So I'm gonna get to it. So I'm getting to. So right, just so you know, so the viewer, I'm getting our audience. I'm getting to like the specifics to the tax. The taxes. Treaty of Paris, 1763. That ended the French War.
Aiden, while he does this, can you put like the Jeopardy music over it, or is that or is that copyright?
I think that's copyright. I'm sorry.
So, in the mid 60s, 1760s, specifically 1764, the Sugar Act was passed by British Parliament, which placed a tariff on sugar, coffee, wines, and products imported into America. It was created to pay off war, so the British could pay off war debts after the French and Indian War, but what they didn't consider is the impact it would have on the colonists. That made products a lot more expensive, and it made business much more difficult for a lot of businesses in Boston in particular, throughout the colonies. But a lot of this really erupted in a lot of this rebellion and revolutionary ideas. Really kickstarted in Boston. That was kind of the main place for it all. And then the next year in 1765, the Stamp Act was passed, which placed a tax on all legal documents. This even increased protests and threats of rebellion. And it also triggered a boycott on British goods. And this, I can go into in depth to what happened, but that's what the taxes were really the big issue, because before the taxes, there wasn't really that much like tension. Once the British introduced these tariffs and taxation, that's when the colonists believed, okay, there needs to be changed. We need to separate because, well, one, it was the colonists' perspective. It was very unfair because they didn't have representation in British Parliament.
No taxation without representation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where the saying comes from. So
I love how Aiden's completely zoned out of us right now. He's done. He's just waiting for us to finish so that he can edit this.
And over time, there were like the Boston Massacre, the Boston Tea Party, which were all of these events and other more specific ones that probably no one's really heard of. Yeah, Paul Revere. The battle that kickstarted the Revolutionary War was what was it? Battle of Lexington. Yeah, Lexington conquered. I actually learned that from Assassin's. You know what's funny? I learned a whole bunch of American history about the American Revolution from Assassin's Creed 3. Just so you know, Assassin's Creed 3 actually has a lot of information. Well, it's Revolutionary War, but actually it's probably the most educational game I've ever actually played. So the people who say video games are bad, look at Assassin's Creed 3. Consider that. Sorry, Cole. Wait, we can't hear you.
I've learned a lot from Hearts of Iron 4 too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So video games can be educational.
And what's a video game you've learned from?
Minecraft?
It teaches, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And creativity and stuff like that.
I also got another answer. I've learned a lot from the video game Prodigy.
I haven't heard of that one.
And you didn't get that reference?
I get the reference, Cole.
Wait a minute.
That was that math game we used to play.
And then like everybody used to play in like middle school, where like the wizards and the math
and math
stuff.
playground. Remember that?
Yeah, math playground.
Yeah, even though they banned it.
Cool math games.
They banned that too.
The Terra.
No, the school.
I know this was like a long time ago, but what did you do? How did you get on the that Africa test that we did? Because I remember that was a tough one.
Got 100. Got 100 on all the geography ones.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
Africa.
I can still do 100% on all countries.
I can't.
Like I know. Okay, so I'm not trying to be mean to people. Like it's okay.
No, that's fine.
That's fine. Like you don't need to know where everything is. Like
it's an open space, but like
I've seen videos on YouTube where people don't know. I know I might sound like a dumb sometimes because I don't know something, but I've seen videos on YouTube where people don't know, like,
oh my gosh, the ones where they take the people off of like the streets of New York and they show them and they flip like the map of the U.S. upside down, and then they're like, "What country is this?" And then they're like, "Canada." Something.
Russia.
I get that it's upside down and that it's different. Still, the U.S. has a distinct shape from everybody else. Like
it does have a distinctive shape.
Nobody else has anything that's shaped like Florida.
Like
Michigan. I don't know.
Like I know this is gonna sound biased, but at least you gotta know where Germany is.
I mean, you don't have to tell me every country in Africa. You don't have to. You don't have to know any of the countries in Africa. In my opinion, you gotta tell me here are the countries that I think every American should know where they're at: U.S., Canada, Mexico, UK, France, Germany, Spain, Russia, China, Japan, and then the Koreas.
Do you guys agree with my statement when I said about like with social media and how that? Because I often like I'm often like that's. I wish social media would go away. I wish it was
banned for all government officials now.
Yeah.
Well, government officials allowed to have TikTok. Thanks to me, who's been talking about it for months now.
They should They should ban it from like people who are any public
Idiots.
office, or people who are like I've seen like TikToks of people in the military or in like the police, and there's this one where she's like, oh my god, it's this nurse, and she's like, she has this like oh my god, bipod with her phone on it, and she's like dancing, and there's literally her patient is sitting in a bed while she's like dancing to I don't know some.
We already talked about it, but like the congressmen who post the TikToks instead of getting their laws done.
Yeah.
He made a joke about it.
I swear to, all right.
I went full on onion on you guys.
Segue 2.
Matt. All right. Thank you for watching. We enjoyed your presence and presence, not present, like the presence. We enjoyed you being here.
We enjoy the presents that you give us.
Yes, we enjoyed you being here, watching our video. We really appreciate it, and we hope you subscribe and leave a like. We'll be back next week, and I'll see you later.
I'd like to inform you that you've been fired from the podcast.
Oh, I knew this day was coming.
I leave that part in.